Good morning, Tuesday morning break, live on the Abundant TV Network. Thank you so much for all of you that have been writing in lately. We are 6 months into the full project, one that I told God I wouldn't do for about a year and a half. So always exciting to do things and then have them turn out to be really good. I have to tell God for like a year and a half, you don't want to do like something daily anymore. And then he laughs at you, which is kind of the way it goes. But it's good to have you here Tuesday morning, 4/21/2026. Good to have you on today's special edition for me. Honestly, one of my real true friends, and I don't have very many, and John will tell you this, in the world, John Summerville going to be with us today. I don't have many friends, and so John, I consider one of them. We met first time, and it just was like somebody that I'm going to be able to hang out with, have a great time. And unfortunately, or fortunately for him, I can't figure out which. We only see each other usually about once a year. But it is a fun week. We're usually together at National Broadcaster, wherever that is. So super fun, dude. We're going to talk about Friends World Radio coming up and the impact that their ministry has. That is coming up. By the way, today, a couple of things. Chocolate covered cashew day. I was like, yeah, this is one of those national days. It's one of those I can get behind. And so National Chocolate Covered Cashew Day. Now, if you've never had chocolate covered cashews, you're missing out. They're fantastic. There's great. You have to get good ones. Now, here's where I become a snob with chocolate and stuff. I don't like just regular chocolate. Like, it has to be good chocolate. Now, I have a weakness for Reese's peanut butter cups. Now, the best Reese's peanut butter cups I've ever had was in Galveston, Texas, and they were not the normal Reese's peanut butter cups. They were made by a chocolatier there in Galveston. Oh my word. And they were huge. They're about the size of my head. And it was incredible. But so I like good chocolate. So go get some good chocolate covered cashews today. Celebrate chocolate covered cashew day. By the way, also, and something really important. And I live in the state of Ohio. A lot of you know that. So we like to brag about this. The Ohio public library system is the most active in the United States. More people check out books, more people use the facilities than any other state in the union. Today is National Librarian Day. So go thank your librarian, especially if you're in Ohio. We use it. I have to be honest with you. I had not had a library card until I moved here in probably 20 years. And I got one when I moved here because it was like peer pressure. Everybody's like, do you have a library card? I'm like, no. And our library system does so many cool things, including training. So today, National Thank Your Librarian Day. So go in, say thank you, and appreciate all the work that they do and all the things that they do to help create a learning atmosphere for so many people. I don't really read books there, and I know that's what the library's for. But I don't. I don't. But I will check out like teaching stuff. That's my big thing. I learned a lot about LinkedIn that way. I learned it wasn't Facebook, basically. Hey, got some great coffee. Again, we want to thank the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. 7 Weeks Coffee. Now, listen, you've heard me talk about this, and you've heard me tell the story about how my wife found the company and then contacted them, and we had a great interaction with them and decided to see if they'd be interested in being a sponsor of Abundant TV, and they have been, and it's been fantastic. But my wife is super smart. Here's what she did. Instead of my normal dark roast coffee, we ordered the variety pack. And I will tell you, I did the Daniel fast earlier this year where no sugar, there's nothing in my coffee. So I needed a lighter roast so that I could palate the coffee without any sugar in it. And it was amazing. So get the variety pack. Go to 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 when you order. That way they know that it's from you. 7 Weeks Coffee, 7weekscoffee.com. Hey, listen, you know what? It's been supular. It is a new word. That's, I need to go to the library, by the way. Supular. It's been supular. Now I'm going to say it repeatedly. It's been super popular, our looking cam for the My-Snackies looking cam. We are back in Florida. And yeah, I would like to be there right now. Yes, it's going to warm up today and be warm here in Ohio, but it has been seriously all over the place. Last night was 39 degrees. So Florida looks very, very good to me. The My-Snackies looking cam. If you've got graduations or anything coming up and you need snacks, you should try the freeze-dried snacks. Again, I'm not a huge, I've told you this earlier in the show, not a huge snack person, but freeze-dried snacks are really cool and kind of hip right now. And that's something that I need. I need to be hip. I need to be cool. I need to be all of those things. I am none of those, but my guest in about 60 seconds, Mr. John Summerville from Trans World Radio, he is all of those things in a nutshell. We're going to do that after this.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy, a life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Remember the great folks at 7weekscoffee.com. That's 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10. That gets you 10% off. Now, they've got some great deals, and we're going to have the owner on the show. And he told me, he said, Rob, I know you. I know you can't keep secrets. I know you want to tell everything that you know, and that's very true. And he said, so I can't tell you, but there's some special deals if you go to the website right now for our viewers. Go to the website, 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10. It unlocks some special deals just for you. By the way, today is National Stay Off My Lawn Day, and that made me think of John Summerville. I did immediately. And he told me, and this is something, ladies and gentlemen, we need to pray for John. Since Saturday, he has been without caffeine, and I can't even imagine. He was, for a guy that's 27, he looks awesome after not being on coffee for all. Good to have you here, my friend.
Well, I have had a terrible addiction to Mountain Dew for a little while, and probably, I don't know how many years, but I decided, you know what, enough is enough. And Saturday I was walking around like a zombie because of it, and massive headache. And anybody who's done the decaf thing, they know getting off of it is pretty tough. So
I did it for like 12 hours once, and I shook like really bad. And I knew immediately I needed to, seriously, like I will tell you this, and this is a serious note. A long flight, a long plane ride.
Yeah.
I do not like the coffee that's on the plane. No offense to anyone that works in the industry, in the airline industry. Your coffee on a plane is just usually, it's terrible. So right beforehand, literally, you'll see me in line right before they're going to call my zone, which now Delta has zones, which is ridiculous. But when they call my zone, you'll see me over next to the garbage can, like an addict going, and I'm like chugging the last of whatever Starbucks I just got. So, but anyway, hey, John, I want to talk about Trans World Radio. And that's really why we're here. I mean, we have a great time, and we could go. And that was my wife. I love my wife. She told me this. She said, keep it on the rails with John, because 20 minutes of just you and him laughing. and nobody's going to want to watch it. And I said, there'll be people that would just watch us laugh for 20
Yeah.
minutes. You could see that totally, like John's wife, maybe. I don't know, but that'd be about it. And my wife. But that's that. So tell us about Trans World Radio, because we have to be serious for a couple of minutes.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks here.
Yep.
And
cool
TWR, Trans World Radio, has been broadcasting the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we've been doing it since 1954. Back in 1954, Dr. Paul Freed had a burden to reach Spain with the gospel of Jesus, and what he did was he went to Morocco, got a small transmitter, and began broadcasting in 2 languages over the Straits of Gibraltar into Spain. At that time, it was closed to the gospel. Churches weren't even allowed to have doors or windows that faced the street, and we broadcast there up until 1958. And then the Moroccan government decided, you know what? We don't want this Christian message going out from a Muslim nation into a Catholic nation, and so they shut us down. But you know, when God closes one door, he blasted open the next one. And the next one was over in Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo, which of course is always known for gambling, was our next home. Now, we went from a small 2,500 watt station in Morocco to Monte Carlo, which was 1.2 million watts. So suddenly, instead of just reaching Spain, we're reaching all of Europe, all of North Africa, and the ministry expanded dramatically. How was it 1.2 million watts? Well, what's really cool is during World War II, Adolf Hitler had commissioned to have built this mega station, and he never had a chance to use it before the war ended. And God had intentions for us to use that station. So we continue using that station today, even today, to broadcast the gospel. Well, since that time, we have expanded into many different locations. We have over 200 radio signals around the world right now. Actually, let me back up. We have over 2,000 radio signals around the world now. And that's mostly AM and FM. There is a little bit of shortwave from, which we do. We do some shortwave into different places, into places in Asia that you wouldn't be able to get AM and FM into. Places like North Korea, like China, like Turkmenistan, and some of the other stand countries. And so we have some shortwave there, but mostly a lot of our ministry is AM and FM based. We also have a growing presence in digital, which is really great. So if you go to like twr360.com or you download our TWR360 app on your phone, what's really interesting is whatever language your phone is in, it will automatically populate all the different programs available so that you can hear God's word in your language. And I have so many stories where our TWR staff will be like in a taxi or something, and they'll say, "Oh, what's your language?" And the guy will say, "Oh, I speak Berber." And they'll pull up Berber, and they'll start playing, and they'll be like, "That's my language. How'd you know?" So if you ever want to have a great witness in the taxi or maybe the grocery store line, it's a wonderful tool to be able to do TWR 360. Look it up on your app store, and you'll be able to download it there. Well, like I was saying, TWR has been broadcasting since 1954. Today, God has grown this ministry not only to just 2,000 stations around the world, but also 200 languages. Imagine that for a moment. Most people don't even realize there are 200 languages out there. There's more than that, obviously, but 200 major languages, and we reach 190 countries every year. God is faithful to what this is. And really, the way I think about it is the reason he has blessed Transworld Radio so abundantly over these years is because we do one thing and one thing only, and that is we stay true to the Word of God. We are teaching and preaching, and through music, doing all about Jesus. And that's what it's about. It's all about Jesus.
See, and that's so awesome. I want to hear a couple of stories, and I know you've got a bunch, but I would love for our audience, and maybe, and sadly, like everything, this may be the first time they've heard about Transworld Radio. And for me, I grew up around it. So and of course, being a radio guy, I've heard about Transworld Radio. but tell us a couple really incredible stories. First place, I love this story about 1,000,000. Was it how many? It's 1,000,000 what? 1,000,002 or what? How many
Yeah,
watts is it?
yeah, that was 1.2 million watts in Monte Carlo. Well, let me take you to Africa next. You ready for this? A lot of great stories come out of Africa. One of them is when, and what I call these are legacy stories, stories from the past, and this was when we were building a new radio station in what was called then Swaziland. It's now called Eswatini. It's right next to South Africa, and we were building a brand new AM and shortwave radio station out of there, and they had to build their own, had to make their own concrete blocks and bricks and things, and they ran out of sand. Now, in the 1970s, you didn't have email, you didn't have text messages, so they had to telegram back to our offices here in the States. They telegrammed. You had to pay for every word of a telegram. And so they wrote, "No sand, send money." To which our offices said, "No money, we'll pray." Well, that night was one of the worst storms in their recent memory. And when the waters receded from the little river that runs in front of this, where they were building it, there was a sandbar. And that sandbar still exists today as a testament to God's miracles and how he does it. Yeah.
I love that story. I love God stories. Those to me are amazing. And to think of all the languages, you said 200 languages that you guys are reaching right now, that you're broadcasting in those languages, correct?
Yeah.
That's what you said. You're looking at me now like I don't know. And
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
okay, no, John, no, don't leave me out here.
Just see you're tracking with me. Just see you're tracking.
And so I want to ask the question, because you touched on the app, and I love this because so many people, and this is the neat thing that we have with Abundant TV, of course, being in a digital world, is we have viewers from around the world. We have last week we had 36,000 people from the Philippines.
All right.
So tell us a little bit about how the app works and how it changes language. Give us some meat and potatoes on that.
Well, I mean, if I had my phone here, I would pull it out and show it to you. But one of the things that's really cool about the app is that it has all the different programs that TWR has on it. And if we don't have a program in the particular language that it's, like for instance, let's talk about the Philippines. And if you had, is it Tagalog? Is that the language that they speak there? Anyways, if we don't have a program, like say David Jeremiah's program, we don't have it in that particular language, then it doesn't even show up. But if you were looking in English, you would find David Jeremiah there because he's already in English for us. And so we have those different programs that are available. And so that's one of the cool things I think that the digital app provides, because it's providing content. And we don't have all 200 languages on it yet, but it's getting close. And so we're always adding more languages as we go, and making it possible for them to have solid biblical content. Because what we're really after, Rob, is to be able to bring content to people who wouldn't be able to get it any other way, and to be able to provide them with solid Bible teaching. And TWR, we run in the circles of conservative Bible teaching, and that's what we want to provide to people, because so many people don't have access to seminary. So many people don't have access to the kinds of teaching that would go on, that you and I just take for granted. And so what we're trying to do is provide them, either through radio or by a digital app, the ability to be able to go deeper in their faith, to go deeper in their walk with Christ each and every day.
So here's my question for you, because and I know the answer to actually, well, I think both the questions I'm going to ask.
Uh-oh.
First of all, how did you get involved with Trans World?
Well, it was actually through a college roommate of mine. He had joined TWR back in 1987, and he kept saying, "This is where you need to be. This is where you need to be." And I said, "Well, I don't think so." And so I, I was at a television station in Fort Wayne, Indiana, 21 Alive, if you remember that one. And
I did not know you were in Fort Wayne. You realize I live like
I
45
know.
minutes.
I know you're not far from it. And so I was there for a couple months, and TWR called me and wanted me to interview. And so they flew me from Fort Wayne, Indiana, out to New Jersey, which is where the headquarters was at the time. And I had never flown. I mean, I was a country kid. And when I got to New Jersey, I could hardly believe it. Here was a highway going, 6 lanes. I mean, I had never even seen anything more than 2 lanes. And I was just agog at everything. And so they interviewed me for a position that I was well overqualified for, didn't want to have anything to do with. And so I just turned them down. A couple of weeks went by, and another position opened up. They called me again and said, "Would you consider this?" And I thought, wow, if God is opening this door twice, he must want me to walk through it for some reason. And so I said yes, and started in 1988 with Transworld Radio. Then 1990, Transworld Radio picked up their headquarters from New Jersey and moved it all down here to Cary, North Carolina, just outside of Raleigh. And my wife and I have been Carolinians since. And in fact, if you cut us, we will bleed sweet tea.
Well, yeah, but you've cut out caffeine, but you got plenty of sugar still rolling through your system. Right. Yeah. So that's the first question, and I knew the answer to that. And I also know the second question, but I want to ask you how you got. If you follow John on social media, and it embarrasses me because I am not nearly as athletic as I used to be. But John is he's a bicyclist. He's a biker, not in the motorcycle terminology, but he rides his bike like everywhere. How did you get involved with biking?
Well, my dad always enjoyed bicycling. In fact, right here, if you can see, dun, 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 right there.
Oh, very
That's
cool.
My dad's bicycle. That's a 1953 Hercules. And what's really interesting is 1953 Hercules is an English bicycle. And of course, on the back fender, it says 1953 coronation year, which of course is the coronation year of Queen Elizabeth.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's a very cool bike. It's got a lot of different features to it. It's got Hercules written on the pedals, and even on the crank. It's really quite an interesting old bike. It's a 3-speed, and so he and I would ride a little bit. But I'm always fell in love with basketball. In fact, I fell in love with basketball before I fell in love with girls, and so I've always been a basketball player. But back a few years ago, I fell off a ladder. And when I did, it hit me hard right here, splitting open my head, all the rungs down there. Fortunately, my son, Ethan, he was out there helping me paint. So he heard the crash and came and was able to get 911 and the whole deal. Well, anytime you have an injury in your head, it's, a lot of blood, a lot of paint, everything. It was everywhere. Anyway, I couldn't play basketball, and found a bicycle on Craigslist and picked it up and started riding, and became one of my main things that I do now. And I love doing that, but I also love not just bicycling, but I also love stopping and taking a photograph. And that's what I love. I love putting those kind of photographs on Facebook, and just having everybody ooh and ah over, the beauty that I get to see when I'm out bicycling.
You do. And I think that's the part. But of course, for me, I go, if I had to ride as far as John did to take the picture, it may be the last picture I take, because that's where they'd find me, next to my camera. And I'd be dead there, and it wouldn't be good. Now, my wife would be sad for a few days for sure, but nobody else would care. But tell me your favorite bike adventure so far.
Well, I mean, one of the things that where I grew up in Pennsylvania, there's a bike trail that runs from Van, which is just a tiny little village, and runs down to the Allegheny River. But as you're going down there, it's got basically cut out of the rock is cut out on the one side, and then on the other side, you got the flat trail, and then it drops off like this, and you can see way down below the creek below. And then as you're riding down towards the creek, you pass over the creek a number of times over bridges. You go through a tunnel to get to the main river, the Allegheny River, which the Allegheny flows into the Monongahela, forming the Ohio down in Pittsburgh. But this is further north than that, and the Allegheny, and you start riding along the Allegheny, and you go through two more tunnels. Those two tunnels you've got to have a light for you, or you're not going to get through without bumping your head. Anyway, and they're great tunnels. But there's also two different places along that trail where you can either jump off the waterfalls and go swimming, or you can go right there by the river and go for a swim. And then what we do is we end up in this little town called Emlenton or Foxburg, and we meet our family there who doesn't bicycle. Usually my boys go with me, and meet there, and we have pizza and Mountain Dew.
There you go.
So,
not anymore, though.
That's right. I've got to back off from that. Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, it will be cool. So have you biked at all, like in your travels, like in Europe or anything like that?
I have biked in Europe, yes. I've biked in a lot of the different states in the U.S. One of the things that I do is I work with Christian radio stations all over the U.S. And we partner together to talk about what God is doing through TWR. And we invite listeners to respond and call either the number, the 888-988-5656 number, or online and give to the ministry. And so when I've been out and about, I've ridden in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, lots of different places.
Phone ringing.
Yeah.
So important. There they are. They're calling. You just gave the number, and they're
I
calling.
gave the number, and woo, there.
Woo. That's how the power of media. Right?
Oh, but I've ridden a lot of different states, and I just really enjoy seeing the beauty that God has made, and that's one of the things I love. Is just getting out and having the wind in my face. And I don't know about you, but I just thank the Lord over and over and over for the beauty that He's made, and it makes me just appreciate how smart the God we serve is, because you think about how everything is unique. Even things that are the same are unique, and when you think about that kind of creativity, you realize that's some pretty powerful smartness.
Yep, and that's incredible. Hey, John, give them the information one more time, so that they can give if they want to give, or can get involved with Trans World Radio.
Absolutely. Well, TWR, you can easily go to twr.org. twr.org is our website. And I think the more you explore, the more you're going to find how much this is really such a great ministry that God has raised up to be able to reach into places where missionaries often can't go. I don't know how much time we have, but can I tell one more story?
20 seconds.
How much?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Well, I could tell lots of stories. I'm telling you, great stories that you would love to hear. But twr.org, catch us. We would love to be a part of what you're doing and how God is ministering through you, and be a part of what God is doing through us.
Awesome. Hey, John, great having you with us. Check out Trans World Radio, and appreciate you, buddy, so very much.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
And we have got to run. Hey, listen, man, I appreciate it. It's another great day. Good things going on. I got to hit network, so I've got to get out of here, but we appreciate each and every one of you. Listen, I'm